Welcome to a family-friendly journey through Paris in the 1700s, a city of beauty, culture, and change. In this video, we'll use the magic of AI technology to bring old paintings and engravings to life, giving you and your family a vivid picture of what life was like for everyday Parisians in the 18th century. In the 1700s, Paris was home to around 600,000 people, making it one of the largest cities in the world. It was a hub of art, culture, and ideas, home to thinkers like Voltaire and Rousseau, whose ideas about society shaped the world. But for the families living in the city, life was a mix of contrasts. While the rich enjoyed luxurious palaces, most families lived in crowded, noisy neighborhoods. Yet, despite the challenges, Paris was full of life and community. At the end of this video, we'll also take a look at the turning point in 1789, when the French Revolution unfolded, forever changing the future of the city and the country. This is the beautiful Seine River, as painted in the 1750s by Nicolas Jean-Baptiste Raguin. For families living in Paris, the Seine was the lifeblood of the city. The Pont-Neuf Bridge, a vital connection across the river, was already over a century old by this time and served as a hub for merchants bringing goods to the city. The river was always busy, with cargo boats carrying coal, grain, and wine to supply Parisian families with the essentials. On the right bank of the river stands the magnificent Institut de France, a symbol of Paris's intellectual spirit. In the distance, you can spot the twin towers of the famous Notre Dame Cathedral, a place of worship for people from all walks of life, from nobles to humble families. But despite its beauty, the Seine wasn't always so clean. Raw sewage often flowed directly into the river, creating an unpleasant smell. Still, families continued to live near the river, relying on it for transportation and water. Here's an engraving of Notre Dame Cathedral in the early 1700s. The cathedral, which began construction in 1163, took nearly 2 centuries to complete. It was the heart of Paris, and a place where families from all parts of society gathered for religious ceremonies and community events. Back in the 1700s, Notre Dame was surrounded by narrow, dark streets packed with small homes. These streets were often dirty and smelled of horse manure and waste. But despite the unsanitary conditions, families found comfort and connection in the cathedral, attending daily masses and celebrating important events together. The area around the cathedral may have been chaotic, but for many Parisians, it was a place of spiritual peace. Today, though the surrounding buildings have changed, Notre Dame still stands proudly in Paris, a reminder of the city's deep history and its role as the heart of Parisian family life. Let's move to the Hôtel de Soissons, a magnificent palace built for Catherine de' Medici between 1572 and 1584. In the 1700s, this palace had passed through different hands, and though it was no longer a royal residence, it still stood as a symbol of elegance. For families living in the area, the palace's grand gardens were a rare oasis of beauty. However, just outside the palace, the streets were bustling with activity, and not always clean. Families would shop in the nearby Les Halles market, which was always busy with traders selling everything from vegetables to fish. The streets were often muddy and crowded. For many families, the market was a central part of daily life, where they bought their food, where they mingled with neighbors, and where they experienced the pulse of the city. The air around Les Halles was thick with the sounds of merchants negotiating prices, the clattering of carts as they moved goods through the streets, and the cries of children playing or helping their parents with the shopping. The streets were far from clean, though. They were often covered in horse manure, fish guts, and the remnants of daily commerce, and with so many people living in close quarters, the smell could be overwhelming. Yet, despite the filth and the noise, families persevered, adapting to the hustle and bustle of city life. The narrow, winding streets leading to the palace were filled with homes, shops, and small businesses, all tightly packed together. These homes were small by today's standards, often cramped and dimly lit, but they were filled with warmth and life. Families would gather around the dinner table, sharing what little they had, finding comfort in their closeness and the community they built together. The contrast between the royal luxury within the palace and the gritty reality of life just outside its walls was striking. Yet, this was the reality for many families in 18th century Paris. Unfortunately, the Hôtel de Soissons, like many grand buildings of the time, fell into disrepair as the years went by. By 1748, it was demolished, making way for the modern buildings that now occupy the area. But even though the palace is long gone, its legacy lives on. It remains a powerful symbol of the contrasts in Parisian society, between the grandiose lives of the nobility and the often harsh conditions that families endured in the streets just beyond the palace walls. Today, if you were to walk through the area where the Hôtel de Soissons once stood, you would find a very different Paris. The busy markets are still there, but they are now part of a vibrant shopping district that serves people from all walks of life. The streets are cleaner, and the air is fresher, but the essence of the bustling family life that once defined the area remains. The Hôtel de Soissons may no longer be standing, but the story of the families who lived near it, their struggles, their joys, and their resilience still lives on in the heart of Paris.